All right, we're back with comic book news. Got Nick over
Yeah,
here. We're
I'm
pretty
back.
excited. Yeah, he's back, and we're ready to go with a lot of new news. Starting off with She-Hulk, with their showrunner Jessica Gao, who won an Emmy for episode of Rick and Morty, and they find their She-Hulk actress with
Mhm,
Tatiana Maslany,
mhm.
who won an Emmy for a leading role in Orphan Black.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it so far. Seen it yet. It's now on my list
Mhm.
because of this, but I've heard she's fantastic, and it's kind of a role like the Shyamalan movies where oh gosh, I can't remember his name. The guy who plays like 22 different
Oh, like
characters.
a split from James
Split.
McAvoy.
Yeah, I've heard it's. I can't remember if it's that role or a different role Tatiana Maslany plays. That's very much like that in the different personalities.
Doing like doppelganger, like other like personalities in a character is always like free reign for an actor to do whatever they want. So that's interesting. That's always good to hear.
Yeah, and I think what someone who can do that proves instantly is
Mhm.
that they can play any type of character,
Right.
and
Right.
especially winning an Emmy for that.
Mhm.
I mean, that's very much showing you that, oh yeah, she can be great in any of these types of roles.
Yeah, she can slot. She can fit in right anywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, I knew she was in Orphan Black, but I wasn't aware of like the context of the show or her character. So that's definitely pretty interesting. I gotta say.
yeah, and I think it's exciting, especially when we haven't had a lot of new news lately. We're just kind of seeing different films getting delayed and pushed back, and we're like,
Wonder Woman.
no,
Wonder Woman just got
no.
pushed from October to December. So that
Yeah,
like and our first video was about Wonder Woman being in October. So that's how much change. That just show it goes to show how much changes in like a few weeks.
yeah, it's crazy. But anyways, there's not really much else with that. It's kind of it is what it is. And moving on, Disney dropped a little reel for what's coming in the rest of 2020, including stuff from The Mandalorian. Thus that cool background you got over there. But what we did see that one show is releasing in 2020, and it appears that one show is not. And
Mhm.
the one show that is WandaVision.
Right.
I know I'm pretty excited about this. I want new Marvel content. I want to see how the TV shows
Yeah.
work
I
and
just
how
think
they look.
I just think one it's just crazy because like one like on a logistical level, WandaVision was supposed to be 2021 and now it's probably going to be the first thing we'll see of phase 4. And again, just like wow, how much has just like been shuffled around, been changed and all that. And I just also think like this is going to be the craziest start to a phase yet. Like phase 1 was Iron Man, phase 2 was Iron Man 3, phase 3 was phase 3 Civil War. Ant-Man
Oh,
and was
might
Ant-Man
be
the
an
end?
Ant-Man.
Okay, so Civil War is phase 3, and we had like all three of them were like relatively gritty, like not gritty, but like a little more serious entries. And now we have this absolutely like crazy, what looks to be an insane show to kick off phase 4. And I'm excited. I'm intrigued. A um, little disappointed just because I wanted to see like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But we're getting WandaVision. I'm just really glad we're getting something at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a bummer that we're not sure. We don't know. Maybe Falcon and Winter
Yeah,
Soldier is kind
hopefully,
of like
hopefully.
on the edge right now. They don't know if they're going to make 2020 or not, so they're keeping it cautious because I know they're still filming.
Right.
I believe WandaVision has wrapped or is wrapping right now, and their episodes, I think, from what I've read, are more single locations.
Yeah, from that Super Bowl trailer made appear, it's like a lot of it's gonna be in like their house or whatever. All Falcon the Winter Soldier I know is like they're in like Czech Republic or something right now. They're like a whole like globe trotting.
Yeah, and they were in Puerto Rico at one point.
Yeah.
Um, so they're all over both the country and the world.
Mhm.
So I know hopefully it comes out at some point in 2020. That'd be awesome, but I'd rather have them get it done and have it done right.
Right.
I think it's a difficult spot to be put in, and you know,
Yeah,
hopefully we'll see it soon.
hopefully.
Well, moving on, we have some news about Miss Marvel. So we already knew the showrunner, Bisha K. Ali,
Mhm.
and but they found their directors.
Yes.
So just going through, we got some really cool ones. If you guys saw Bad Boys for Life, which was a pretty fun film,
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of the Bad Boys franchise. Uh,
Good. Like so bad it's good type movies. Just have a good time.
yeah, they're like guilty pleasure action movies.
Mhm.
Um, but their two directors, their directing team, Adil El Arbi. I hope I'm pronouncing these names right. I feel
I
really
think you got
bad.
that right. Yeah, I think you got
Um,
that right.
and Bilal Fallah.
Mhm.
Um, I apologize if I'm pronouncing your
Yeah.
names incorrectly.
Mhm.
They're set to direct some of the episodes, and then Sharim Obaid Chinoy.
You got there. You got
There,
there.
I'm trying. I'm trying. Who won two Oscars in the documentary short categories.
Mhm.
I'm not really familiar with her work otherwise, but I mean, if you when someone wins
Oscar.
an Oscar or an Emmy or some sort of those types of awards, you usually have a good feeling that they know what they're doing.
Mhm.
Um, and then finally, Mira Menon,
Mhm.
uh, who's directed episodes of The Walking Dead, Punisher,
He also directed,
Titans,
yeah, the DC show Titans.
Dirty John, and Outlander.
Mhm.
I've seen some of the early seasons of The Walking Dead, and I've seen all of the Punisher.
Yeah,
Um,
I looked it up. Her Titans episode was actually one of my favorites from the series. It's like the episode where they all come together for the first time. And yeah, again, like you said, the Punisher. Just between those two episodes, and that's a great resume right there.
yeah, yeah, and I think The Walking Dead too, and their shows that have like, given they probably aren't the scale of a Marvel TV show with the budget, because that's like a Game of Thrones budget. You don't really see
Yeah,
that in
right.
television. But as far as budgets go, Punisher's a pretty high budget show, and The Walking Dead's a very high budget
Yeah,
show. So she has that experience in television, like the two guys from Bad Boys for Life do in movies, because that's a like medium to high budget.
yeah.
Um, so I have the confidence that they'll know exactly what they're doing going into this project and how to work through, all of the struggles that like high budget filmmaking can have.
I think like it's such an interesting mix of like people who like worked on movies, people who have like worked with television. It's just like an interesting bunch. And also I do appreciate how like they Marvel, like this is probably the most diverse directing list of like their shows, at least that I'm aware of. I haven't really checked out like who's directing WandaVision or whatever, but um it's nice to see like a few new emerging faces getting their chance to work with such a big franchise as Marvel.
Yeah, and I think Kevin Feige and the casting directors and all the people who are involved in those decisions have aced it so far.
Yeah,
With the exception of, the Game of Thrones guy who directed
uh,
Thor: The Dark World,
yeah, it's okay. Well, actually,
something Taylor, James Taylor, or something like that.
Alan Taylor.
Alan Taylor. Yeah,
It's funny though because he's also directed episodes of the AMC show Mad Men, and those were some of like the best like directed television episodes ever. So I mean, something must have I don't
I
know.
I don't know if it was as much of a him problem as it was as a script problem.
Mhm.
Those of you that don't know Patty Jenkins, they
Yeah.
originally wanted to direct that film, but she said no because she thought the script was bad.
Mhm.
Um, Smart decision in the long run. She got Wonder
Yeah.
Woman. But yeah, yeah, that's kind of the news that's going on with Miss Marvel. Moving on into DC, do you want to talk a little bit about new news about the Snyder Cut, Ray Fisher, and then
We
Jason
could
Momoa?
we could lead with Mr. Pattinson first, since that would be a shorter one, and also just that was what was on a lot of people's minds recently.
Yeah, yeah. So for those of you that don't know, Robert Pattinson has recovered from COVID, and Batman has started or is starting, depending on the article you read,
Right.
production up again.
Yeah. Good to
Which
hear. Good to hear.
is
Wish him.
really good to hear, especially since we've heard about it's coming out in 2021. We're hoping it doesn't get delayed anymore, so them being able to get back to filming as soon as possible really helps move along that process. And as a fan, you want to see it as soon as possible. You want to see it meet its release date. So all of that, them coming back to set, is a really positive sign for that.
Yeah. I've been like I was like when I first found out he was diagnosed, I was waiting I was like waiting to make a joke like, oh, I feel more bad for COVID that they decided to like attack Batman, but I was also like, that could like karma could bite me in the ass for it if I make it such a joke. So I was like waiting, but I'm so glad he recovered. It's you never know with the stories you hear about it. So good to hear he recovered and good to hear they're back.
Yeah, it's great news. And don't really know much more on the Batman. They've been keeping a pretty tight lid on it, and I
Yeah,
think since they're shooting in one location now on a sound stage,
yeah.
I think instead of shooting outdoors in the UK,
Mm,
uh, a lot of that's going to be under wraps and hard to find out.
right.
So let's move on to the Snyder cut. Do you just kind of want to take it from here and kind of break us
Yeah, I
down?
guess I can take it from here. So for those who don't know, well, the Snyder Cut in itself has a long history of just getting to its release date. I think what we'll focus on for today though is just the most recent series of news stemming from it because I believe back in July, Ray Fischer, who played Cyborg in the who's cast as Cyborg and played him in the movie, he posted a video on his Instagram, a clip from the 2017 Comic Con, and he's giving this quote. For those who don't know this, a lot of the Snyder Cut drama starts with the fact that Zack Snyder stepped down as director and was replaced with Joss Whedon, who directed the first two Avengers movies. And in the clip, Ray Fisher is like, Joss Whedon is such a great choice. Like, I'm glad Warner Brothers like gave him the reins. And then his comment on the video though was, "I fully retract everything I said in the statement." And people were like, "Oh shoot, like what the heck?" And then he fully came out and said like he posted an official statement on his Twitter and said that basically, like the behind the scenes of what was happening in the Snyder Whedon transition was that it was like utter chaos. Whedon was a very negative influence on the film and on like how they treated Zach, and the word was enabled by one of the DC Comics people, Jeff Johns, and I believe was it Walter Hamada, I believe. Just double checking. But Walter Hamada, one of the Warner Brothers heads, was also called out in his Twitter, and so since then, Fisher's been trying to get an investigation going into what happened, so that everyone could be held accountable. His new motto has been accountability over entertainment,
All right.
right? And then and he's been keeping the people who've been like following, like tracking this situation on Twitter. He's been posting updates about how how about like what Warner Brothers has been doing, how Warner Brothers is trying to like bury the investigation, and it all culminated to a point when Jason Momoa actually spoke out in favor of Fisher and said that like again like they need to investigate this and they need to do this properly and fairly, and it's it's been a crazy thing. Like you would have thought once the Snyder Cut was like released, like like justice or whatnot has been achieved, but it looks like there was a lot more happening that people weren't fully aware of. And when you line up what Ray Fisher is doing with what John Boyega said with the Star Wars sequels,
Right.
it's just been like, oh God, 2020, and here we are, like Hollywood's still trying to like save its own skin. I don't know how much you've been keeping up with, like, I don't know Fisher or Boyega, but like, someone pointed out that like on the days that like Fisher or Boyega would like say something, Warner Brothers and Disney would release some sort of movie news to like bury that
Mhm.
announcement. I remember like they released like Mandalorian stuff on like the day John Boyega's interview came out. When Ray Fisher tried to post something about the investigation, Warner Brothers dropped that Ben Affleck was returning as Batman, and they like,
Yeah.
got lost in the shuffle. It's just a crazy like situation. I don't know if you want to put some input into the whole thing.
Yeah. I want to make sure it's clear this is all alleged, right? Even though it sounds pretty real.
Yeah.
And I tend to believe that Fisher is telling the truth because
Mhm.
why else would you put your whole career on the line? Because that's honestly what he's doing. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just hope that they get a real investigation that's from a real third party and not, a lot of the times when a company hires an internal investigator, you have to remember they're hiring that investigator. They're working for the company.
Right.
So if the company's motive is to say there's no problem rather than actually fix the problem, that can be problematic. So having a third party agreed upon investigator between Ray Fisher and the parties that are having the accusation and Warner Brothers is important, just to make sure that there's a honesty and accountability that you wouldn't otherwise get.
Yeah. I think you said it, to jump on what you said, the fact that like he's basically staking his whole career, like he's like walking like that tightrope with his career, and he's also like, excuse me, he's like the youngest Justice League member in the sense that his career was like really like was beginning with Cyborg. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool that he's like trying to like get justice in a sense for the film and for what happened, and I think he's also said like he knows that his career could be like over, but he's like willing to like to still like go for it again, accountability over entertainment. So I don't know, I guess the what happened on that film, the story of what happened is continuing, and I don't know, I stand with Ray Fisher. I hope that like, you know, he achieves that end goal of getting like a proper investigation, and that like in a proper and fair like investigation. And I think it definitely helps like Jason Momoa standing by him. It's funny, those two were also like the first actors to voice support for the Snyder Cut, so like I suppose in a way like not history's repeating itself, but you know, it's nice to see that they're standing by each other.
Yeah, it definitely is. And lost my train of thought, but I was trying to say, gosh, that it's just important that we realize some people may be asking, well, why isn't Ray Fisher just saying everything that happened?
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't Jason Momoa just saying everything that happened?
Yeah.
It's an investigation, so that has to be internal. Their NDA signed, their legal reasons. He can't publicly say that.
Mm-hmm.
So there are reasons why he's not just giving you all the information.
Yeah.
Because for an investigation to work, it has to be internal.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted everyone to know that it's not like he wants to hide it. I bet you he'd want to like scream from the mountaintop, like this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But because there's an investigation going on, he can't, because they have to talk to different witnesses. And if he says it to the public, then it influences what witnesses say. So it makes it a whole mess.
Right. I think definitely the fact that the Snyder Cut's getting released was like the sign he was looking for, because there was, I believe, in the I can't count the 3 years in between 2017 and now, when the Justice League theatrical version was released, there was a whole like power reorganization in Warner Brothers with AT&T Media, and so I in a way I just have to assume that he's been like just forced to stay quiet all this
Right.
time, and once like Warner's like decided to release it and like kind of showed his solidarity with it, he saw you know, it was time. And yeah, man, like I can't imagine what must have like happened. Like I just picture like Warner Brothers just like his forcing NDA after NDA like on this guy, just to like ensure that like everything was okay. And it's like, no.
Right. And yeah, we just want to make sure that you guys listening know this is speculation. We don't know anything for facts.
But I mean, hey, what was it? Innocent until proven guilty. So I mean, both, I guess, suppose one Warner Brothers, both through Ray Fisher, because I know a bunch of people have like accused him of like trying to drum up publicity for himself. But
yeah, I doubt that's the case.
yeah, again, he has so much to lose by taking on like one of the like main film studios, like probably the biggest one, not excluding Disney. So here's to David taking on Goliath, I suppose.
Yeah. And with that, that wraps up our news for comic book movie news. Thank you guys for listening. If you liked what we talked about, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave some comments down below. Let us know what you think about any of our new news segments. All
And
right. We'll
peace
see you
out.
next time.
Wash your hands.
Wear a mask. All right.